Hi, Jeffrey.
Hello, Amy. How is the wonderful community of Concord, Michigan this evening?
Well, it's reminding me that fall is definitely here and it's almost winter.
Well, it's snowing in the UP.
That is very disappointing to me.
No,
I
why? I love the snow. It's good. We want to that's Michigan.
Yes, okay, okay. Um, we are excited to come to you guys tonight for just kind of an update. I feel like we've abandoned you guys, but we have been busy. And if you see Jeff scowling, it becomes because on the back end of our screen, we're seeing there's a hiccup with publicizing this to Facebook. So you guys are all seeing this on YouTube, and we're just going to roll with it. So we've been busy. And once Jeff's done troubleshooting this, don't forget to smile, Jeff. We will get into the crux of our program, but some of the highlights of what we've been doing the last few weeks. First of all, thank you. Welcome to all the new members. Welcome to everybody that is new to joining our little motley group of grassroots. We're excited that we're down to 22 days until the election. Jeff and I, honest transparency, we are ready for it to all be over, but we press on. Jeff? You okay there?
Yep, I just have an idea. I'm going to try
Okay.
one thing.
So we are excited for what we see happening, and we think there's being progress being made. So Jeff and I have now done 3 different, what do you call them, door-to-door days. Let's start with the sad news first. The sad news is that we had very small response, but let's be realistic. Jeff and I are still new to doing this type of movement of getting people involved, like specifically with those type of specific tasks. So that there's a learning curve, but let's talk about the positives. It has been so fun for us to be out interacting with different people in the community, and also to see the progress that's being made, and to also just to interact with some of the people that are working hard on these campaigns. So when Jeff and I were in Oakland County this last week, we encountered this guy. And if you've never done door to door, it's really a unique experience, but we're going from house to house and following our little map. And here comes this gentleman walking this ginormous St. Bernard dog. I mean, huge. And you try to stay like aware of your surroundings, but you're trying to be sensitive to people. You don't want to get in people's way. You don't want to interrupt them. But then you try to feel them out, right? And so this gentleman who was walking past us, he kind of sought us out for engagement. And so we were, just cautiously telling him like what we were walking for and letting people know about Proposal 2. And it was a great engagement. And he's like, I'm so glad you guys are out here doing this. He wasn't on our list, but it was like we had a win, and we were kind of pumped and encouraged. He was very nice. And in fact, he gave us tips as we went to a house, and he's like, hey, that guy's going to be very helpful for your efforts, and make sure you give him some information. So there's stories like that are fun for us to walk away from. And it just kind of, I think that human to human interaction can really be inspiring for us. It kind of puts us outside of like your screens. And so we're able to just interact with more people. It is a little cold, and Amy's not very good at doing it for a long time, but we're glad to do it. It was, and it helps us help candidates. And so we're thankful to make an impact. So Jeff, what's the verdict? Should we do a restart?
No, I think what I'm just doing is I'm posting in our Facebook group, in our Facebook event, that we're on YouTube,
Yep.
because for some reason, even when I re-added it to Facebook, it still isn't letting us do it. So
Cool.
there's
Well,
just
we'll
some
roll with it.
back-end technical issues, but we're just you keep going for another
Okay.
minute and I'll be ready to go.
So one of the things some of the things that we wanted to touch base with you guys on tonight, first of all, let's touch on a few more positives, and then Jeff and I'll fly through kind of the crux of what we're wanting to highlight with you this evening. But here's some more positives. One, the engagement in the group is really awesome. It is so cool to see more and more of you engaging and just sharing with us like your opinions and observations and questions. So thank you to everybody that's taking time. We have had a small few that have questioned us about, please stop using the everyone tag. And just so you're aware, I have included some different explanations, but I'll just do a verbal brief. If you're not sure what I'm talking about, there's this new feature in Facebook that allows you to sometimes in groups to do an @ tag, and then you type out everyone. And what it does is it notifies everybody that's in your group that, air quotes, they have just been tagged. The positive with that is the way the Facebook works, you don't always see what your favorite group is posting, right? So we could post 1,000 posts in Facebook group today, and it still will not notify all of you of what is in there. So what we're attempting to do is we want to reach as many people as possible. So this everyone tag tags you. The downside is that it tags you and it gives you this notice saying, okay, Jeff, Amy's just tagged you in this group. So here's the reality of it. We only have 22 days left. We are experimenting. We do value your feedback, but our mission is to reach as many people as possible with as much information as possible. We will use this tag cautiously and carefully, and we are actually weighing, is it worth it, right? Like, do we get good benefits from it? So give us your feedback. We don't want to lose you, but we're just asking for you to understand with us, because we really, for case in point, we did a voter guide in the group, and then I did the everyone tag, and we ended up with over 900 shares that I guarantee you that would not have happened if we had not done kind of this kickstart nudge. So thank you to everybody that's staying engaged with us. It does help the more that you can comment and share it out and pull your people in, because really, hey, we're about at 11,000 people. That's huge when you think that 11,000 people each reach their own hundreds. So continue to engage, continue to feed the algorithm, continue to tell Facebook by your engagement that, hey, I like what these guys are doing. So anyways, so Jeff, let's get started on some of the content we have. First of all, tell us where you've been the last week. You've been to like different events and
been a lot. I mean, the ticket is on fire. I am seeing the energy behind it. There's these bus tour events. I've gotten to speak at the last two, and there's been hundreds of people at them. And it's great to see the energy behind the ticket and behind everybody ready to go, ready to vote on November 8th, but also to do the work beforehand and the work that everybody's ready. And like, that's what we need everyone to do. We need everybody. We've got 22 days to save our state. 22 days. We can all give up our next 22 days to save our state for our children and grandchildren. And that is what I'm seeing at these events. I am amazed by the turnout that people are coming, the energy behind it. Tudor destroyed in the debate on Thursday. We saw how Whitmer is not prepared to be governor again, and she just it showed that she can't defend any of her record, because we all know that she can't, but it showed that she can't. She knows that she can't. And Tudor is it. So everybody is energetic. Everybody's ready. People know that we're voting on important things, not just at the top, but at the bottom of the ballot. And it's really awesome to see all these people.
Will you tell the audience what you told me today after you? Well, first of all, these are the events that Ron Armstrong is organizing, and God bless Ron. He really is a pioneer in like the grassroots movement. Like, he has a good pulse on the grassroots and what's needed. And he started talking about doing this tour like weeks ago. So shout out to Ron Armstrong. But so Ron and like Stand Up Michigan, they're involved in these bus tours. And so they're inviting someone to come speak, like Tudor to come speak, and different representatives of the ballot committee. But you were telling me today, Jeff, like the conversations you had after your presentation, what people were saying.
It's just energizing. People are thanking all of the speakers for doing what they can and getting the word out, and just having the energy behind it and being more informed and making sure they know the topic and they know how to talk to our independent friends and our soft Dem friends, because we need them to vote with us to win, and we need to get every vote we can. And once you tell them the truth, once they hear what is in these proposals or what's on the actual line, of this election, they're on our side. They are.
Yeah.
They know what's the Americans and Michiganders. We know, we've all went through it together. We know what's going on, and we just have to remind people.
What were some of your observations as you've done doors lately, like the comments you've had at the doors? And
so I always start with Prop 2 because that's my passion. Is voting no on Prop 2. Everybody knows that. It's been hard. I mean, there's been some people that they're like, I didn't even know this was on the ballot. Because everybody's focused on Prop 3, which is important, and it's important to beat it.
Absolutely.
But Prop 2 is also important, and getting the word out, letting people know that this is on the ballot, because we can't let people go in uninformed and then just accidentally hit the yes box. But there's also people that are just thinking that we're out talking to people, that we're knocking on doors, that we're engaging the public and trying to get these what we call low propensity voters to come out and vote, and get these non-expected voters to vote. Because if we turn out all of the voters that aren't expected to vote, we'll win in a landslide.
Isn't that amazing? So let's jump from that topic to let's kind of stay, because again, the ballot, right? You've got proposals at the bottom of the ballot. But there's another area that Jeff and I really wanted to hit on tonight, and that's another portion at the bottom of the ballot. Do you want to launch with this?
It's a very important judicial races. There's people that don't, it's not always something that you think about that you're going to vote on. And that's the judge that is going to be not only judging on if the murderer goes to prison, but also if Governor Whitmer gets away with the 1945 law. And that's these judicial races make determinative. It is our third branch of government, and in Michigan, we elect our judges from the district court to the appellate court to the Supreme Court. And we need to get word out, because those races are nonpartisan. So if you hit Republican or Democrat at the top of the ballot, you haven't voted for any judges.
Wow.
So you need to remember the names: Brian Zara and Paul Hudson for Supreme Court. And then if you are in Macomb, Oakland, or Genesee County, you need to vote for Michael Warren for Court of Appeals. Those are some good rule of law judges that are up against either Whitmer appointees or progressive leftists that are trying to change our entire judicial system. And it's how our system works, that if you are a current incumbent judge or justice, your name will be listed with that office you hold on the ballot. So it's very difficult to beat an incumbent judge or justice. And there's one in the Supreme Court, Richard Bernstein, that we need to defeat, that will have that. That's why we need to replace him with Paul Hudson.
Okay.
And then in the Court of Appeals, in Macomb, Oakland, and Genesee counties, there's a Whitmer appointee that will have the incumbent designation saying judge of the Court of Appeals, that we need to replace with Michael Warren.
Well, and really the court, I mean, I feel like I've actually told Justice Brian Zara, I've known him for a long time, and I've told him, I've said, Justice, this is an amazing time to run for court. And I think it's a different perspective, but I think for like Jeff and I, how we've been out here, right, as have so many voters, like we've been out on the battlefield, and you see like grassroots are concerned for the loss of their freedom. And when a court is the final like hold that like will either keep the progressives out or will keep things in check, it's like we're so clearly reminded of the significance of the court. And I think Jeff and I both know, I mean, only God knows what's going to happen on November 8th, but here's how one way I would assess it is that with the reality that Whitmer could win re-election, with the reality that the Democrats take the House and the Senate majority, that Supreme Court becomes even more important. Because when you take a nefarious law that's passed in the legislature and the governor signs it, it can be disputed, right? Like you could have somebody that takes up that case. Well, the Supreme Court is your final safeguard. And if you don't have that majority, let's put it this way. If you have a majority that is in line with the progressive ideologies, it is going to stand with the governor. But if you have a rule of law majority, they're going to be able to see it for clearly what it is Is this in line with the law or against the law? Did I describe it correctly? Would you say,
Yeah.
Jeff?
No, that's what's on the line.
We are hoping for, I know Jeff and I, like, as we're interacting with people, and we're praying and believing for miracles. Like, we think there will be miracles, but we also want to just emphasize and help you clearly understand, as a grassroots who are so crucial to victories in November, the importance of the Supreme Court. So help your people remember these two names. Brian Zara, he is a rule of law justice, which means he loves the law. He is going to interpret it not on his feelings, not on his emotions, not on the wind of the trends of culture, but he's going to interpret things based on the law. That's what we want. And he loves America, loves God, just an awesome guy. So Brian Zara, we want to reelect. Mr. Bernstein is someone that many of you will recognize his name. He's the blind justice. He has really achieved amazing things for being blind. So kudos to him. What an awesome story. But he is in lockstep with the progressive agenda. His family are lawyers. They have money, a ton of money. And the norm is that as the incumbent, he gets reelected. What we are hoping for is that Mr. Bernstein will have more time to spend with his family and on other projects, and that when people go to the polls, they will vote for Paul Hudson to take his place. So the two names on the Supreme Court ballot are Brian Zara and Paul Hudson that you need to tell all of your friends and family about on the Supreme Court. Anything else on that topic, Jeff?
No, just remember and just let people know there's literature, I know, at a lot of victory centers in a lot of places.
Yes.
Make sure you're taking those when you're going door to door to let people know about these races, because they're at the bottom. And I get texts all the time saying, who should I vote for judges? Because they just know to vote at the top Republican straight ticket, and then they don't know who to vote for in the judicial section.
If people are watching this now, so before Jeff and I get 1,000 emails, let's just go through this very quickly. So if you're wondering, Amy, I pull up my sample ballot and there's other judges on here. How do I know who to vote for? First, the two easy ones, we just told you, Brian Zara, Paul Hudson on the Supreme Court. However, if you're on the east side of the state, look for Michael Warren's name. He's the one you need to champion for the Court of Appeals. If you're in Jackson County, there is a friend of mine, Craig Pappen, that is running against a Whitmer appointee for, I believe it's the 12th court district. So write down Craig Pappen. But if you are in an area that has none of those names, I would start with talk to your conservative friends, talk to the local party, see who they are recommending. But you can also check out Michigan Right to Life. They have a tool that will allow you to generate your own sample ballot to see, and there are many judges that they will have endorsed. And if you still get stuck, you're looking for code words, really, like what endorsements do judicial candidates tout? What issues are they championing in their op-eds, in their social media, on their website? Are they pushing like, diversity, equity? I don't know, Jeff, what are the other terminologies that come to mind? If they're hyper-focused on
progressive,
if they're hyper-focused on the environment, right? Like there's just signals that you're like, conservatives care about the environment. Conservatives care about equal, but there are certain terms that are just to be extra cautious with. And so you can see that. But if you get a chance to engage with a judicial candidate, ask them questions like, who's your favorite justice? If it's Antonin Scalia, that's going to be a huge sign that they're a rule of law. What magazines do they subscribe to? Who's their favorite author, right? You can start to ask questions that start to build a framework to help you understand what they're all about. And if you get stuck, let us know. Jeff, let's jump to another topic that you and I have kind of been extra sensitive about lately. How do we mobilize the independents?
Just give me 1 second. I'm just trying this one last time.
Okay.
We do apologize for the problems with
missing the Facebook
media.
crowd. Basically, what we'll do is
we'll
reconnect it.
Yeah, independence. It's just important that, so people need to know that Republicans, we can almost count on their vote. There's a few that questionable and stuff, but we really need to target the independents. And the polling shows that we are winning them across the nation. We are winning independents because we're talking about the economy and inflation. Talk about how you're having issues when every time you go to the grocery store, prices keep going up and up and up. Gas prices, every time I fill up, I have to fill up with this role on this campaign a couple times a week, and it seems like every single time it's more and more.
Mhm.
And it's sad that this is happening, and that this is like the process that we're living in the society that we're living in. But that's why independents are voting with us, because they know that under, whether it was under President Trump
Mhm.
or under some of these Republican governors, we had a better economic forecast and
Mhm.
just a better way of life. And it
Mhm.
was easier to live, and it wasn't stressful where families came home and had to question if they were going to be able to put food on the table that week.
Yeah.
It's we If we focus on that, we will get these independents to vote with us.
Well,
That's how we do it. That, and then the second issue of parental rights. We saw it in
yes.
Virginia in 2021.
Yep.
Parental rights is how Glenn Youngkin won. That's how we're going to win here with Tudor and with like the entire slate, because parents need to be involved. They want to be involved. This is a fight between if you believe your children should be raised by the government or
Mhm.
by the parents. That's clear and simple.
Yep.
That is what the left is trying to do, is trying to take parents out of this and say the government can raise our kids.
Well, and it's
It looks like one of those The Giver, if you remember that book.
I don't know that I ever read that book, but
Don't It's a little depressing. But
okay.
it's yeah.
But it's kind of that point, right? That like, well, because I think too, like we have to recognize that if things are bad now, if you have a progressive majority, like if you have a Joe Biden in the governor's house and leading the Senate and leading the House, and it's gonna be worse. I don't understand how people can see it might be better. So let's talk about for a second how to engage the independent. So I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to throw out one example and then I'll toss the ball to you. So when you're working to engage your next door neighbor, don't wear your MAGA hat if you think they may be anti-Trump, right? Like, or when you're going door to door, don't wear your, Trump is still my president. It doesn't mean that your positions and your values on that topic don't still matter. But if you're trying to reach that independent, they're immediately going to be shut down. But if you can reach them on the topic of, hey, how are you? It's good to see you, right? There's that relationship with your neighbor or the guy you always see at the grocery store. Hey, I think I remember you were a Whitmer fan last time, and I'm guessing you're like me and you're really feeling the pain of the pump. Can I just encourage you to consider Tudor Dixon? I'm not saying you have to buy into the whole Republican ticket, but I would just encourage you. I really think we should give her a chance because things are bad under Whitmer's leadership. But let's give her a chance. What do we have to lose? Something like that. Maybe, Jeff?
Yeah, no, we're not trying to, this isn't, at least right now, this isn't a long-term fight. We're not trying
Okay.
to change all the minds and saying you need to be with us 100% of the time
Right.
and doing all this and believing this and stuff. We're trying to get to 50% plus one. That's what we got to do to win, because we know it'll be better with Tudor
Yes.
Dixon as governor. So we
Right.
have to get to 50% plus one. How we
Yep.
get there is we talk to those people like that.
And if they're like, I wasn't going to vote, but I am hurting at the gas pump, even if all you can get them to do is to say, will you just go in and vote for Tudor Dixon? One vote. That's all, right? Like Jeff and I can think of 300 other things for you to vote for, but really that top of the ticket is so significant. And I think just reaching them on the relationship level, reach them on economics, reach them on parental rights. Hey, moms and dads, you've been to the school board meetings. Do you like what you see? It's only going to continue. But if we can get new leadership at the top, maybe we can make a difference. Don't you think it's worth trying? Vote Tudor Dixon. And maybe you guys have some other suggestions as well, but it's worth trying just to relate to them on that topic. So with that, before we go, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Really, it's not the elephant in the room, but it's the big leader that's supposed to be coming to Michigan. Is it this week or next week?
I believe it's next week, the 29th.
Does everybody know? So we got word that Barack Obama is supposed to be coming to Michigan for Whitmer, I guess. Jeff, does this really matter? Why should grassroots actually be encouraged by this?
Because they're terrified. If they're calling in, they had Vice
He's the
President
biggest guy.
Harris. Vice President Harris was in 2 days ago.
Yep.
They have President Obama coming in next week. They have, I wouldn't be shocked if they start announcing more because they're terrified. Tudor won the debate easily. All the media, even the left-wing media, says Tudor won the debate. It was clear. The momenta's on our side. They're terrified. But you know what this means? We can't let up the gas. We got to push down even harder. We got to do extra doors, extra phone calls, do extra work, because we've got 22 days to finish this strong. And we can finish this strong.
And I will say, and we can kind of close on this, Jeff, and you can chime in if you agree or disagree, but I actually think so. Jeff and I have to remind ourselves that we're not normal, that we can eat, sleep, and breathe politics and campaigns year round, but most people don't even think about it until maybe a couple days before. So I think for all of you that are watching and that are engaging with this, just remember, try to put on a fresh lens and think, if I was just coming to this, what would I see? And just go after those people one more time to say, would you like to come to this event with me? Would you like to come do doors with me? Would you like to come be a part?
This is really big. Amy, let me just say this. I just looked over at my TV and there was a Tudor Dixon ad. So for everybody that's been yelling about no Tudor, pro Tudor ads, I just looked over at the TV in the Detroit media market, and there is a pro Tudor Dixon ad.
And can we just also brag on, we did that pitch yesterday, last couple of days, saying, let's all give, and people are giving. It's awesome. So you guys are making a difference. Your voice it matters. You have influence. Continue to reach out to your circles.
And I have one more call to action to ask some people to do. So if you may see some, we've unfortunately discovered what the media has done. We know this for decades, but there's local media that have still tried to say that they are nonpartisan or they are objective. I want to just bring to attention one source that recently has gotten on my nerve. It's the Detroit Free Press. They have released pretty much all of their endorsements now. I don't think they've endorsed the top of the ticket yet, but from what they've endorsed in the bottom, you can see where it's coming. Out of all of the state house, state senate for the entire state, education boards, Supreme Court and everything, they endorsed a single Republican, and that was Paul Hudson for Supreme Court. One single Republican, that was it, running in a nonpartisan race. He's not even listed as a Republican on the ballot. You call yourself a nonpartisan organization or a media source, and you say that you're going to endorse their article literally said, we're just endorsing the Democrats for the state house and state senate because it's their turn to have a time. That's not how it works. Whether, with both sides of the party, there are some issues with candidates. And if you're supposed to be a nonpartisan media source, you probably shouldn't be endorsing just one party. So I want to challenge everybody. If you have a free press subscription, cancel it. You shouldn't have it anymore. It's not worth it. That's what I've discovered. Second, maybe reach out to their editors. Go on their website and find some emails and send some emails that you're disappointed in their choices, that they didn't even decide to look at the candidates. They just decided to say, oh, I like the left. That's what they said. And it's sad that this is what some of our state and our media that we've come to trust. Even like the local media is where we still have the most trust because they're covering our local community. We know the reporters, we know the people on the TV, we know that. But even this has started to move in the side. So we have to put a stop to it now, and we need to stand up.
Well, and it also reminds me of how many times have we seen different issues out there, whether it's, a big professional sports game where they take a knee and what happens is they think it's this subtle thing they're doing, but the grassroots bring about this huge backlash. And I think with the Detroit News, what they're thank you, Detroit Free Press, thank you. What they're hoping is that their endorsements are going to have weight. But what we as grassroots need to do is say, we see you, we see what you're doing, and we're going to be extra motivated, extra passionate about making sure everyone that reads your news knows why these endorsements are bad. So what they need to see is, oh my gosh, maybe we went too far. So definitely reach out to your peers, let them know. Do you know what happened? And use it as a teaching moment for your family even. This is why something like this is important. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Please tell your friends if you appreciate this information. Jeff and I are so sorry we've been kind of off the grid as like a duo here, but we promise we've been working behind the scenes, and we're hoping to do another video with you guys probably Wednesday evening. So hit us up like with the topics you'd like us to tackle, some of the things that are just you can't find answers to, but just be encouraged because we are really hopeful. We know there's going to be miracles, and your efforts are making a huge difference. Jeff?
And we really apologize for the technical difficulties that happened. It sounds like I just got a notification on my other screen that said Facebook is now actually live.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So we've been live for about a half an hour. We've been talking. We're actually about to wrap up here. But if you missed our live, please visit our YouTube page. It's on the Americans Unite for Michigan YouTube page that says, and we have our entire live is there. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, because if we have these technical difficulties, if Facebook tries to shut us down and not let us do activity, do talking to you, that you can watch via YouTube, because they at least are still letting us go and stuff.
Yeah.
So please just, we apologize for the technical difficulties. Visit our YouTube page, watch there, because our entire live is there. So there's some important information that we talked about, but we will see you guys on Wednesday to talk a little bit more. And if you, we're just going to continue working for this red wave. We've got 22 days and we can't wait.
We can't wait. Thank you guys. Keep it up. We'll talk to you soon.